Hello, I'm Misty Lynne Cauthen, owner of Dragonfly Pilates in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm here with my friend Christine Crooks, and she is going to help us demonstrate how to get into the Bodhi for a 4-point suspension. Dun, dun, dun. So there are plenty of ways to do this, but we're always looking for the safest way possible. So what I'd like for you to do first is start with the loop setup. So what I'll have her do is make sure her short loop, we're actually going to go to more of a beginner setup. So bring your short loop maybe just about to mid-shin-ish. Perfect. And this is for when we're doing all fours from the floor. And there is a different setup for when you're doing it standing. So just a disclaimer. Excellent. Now for your hands, I'd like for you to slide your handles down so they're at long loop height. And the reason for this is that we typically want the back to be flat when they lift up into the all fours position, the hover position, or some of those natural start points if you're going to plank or beyond. So putting the handles here will allow Christine to make sure she is in a better body line when she lifts her hips up, rather than being up too high or even worse, down low with her tush in the air. There we go. So go ahead and slip your feet in first. And personal preference for me is that your feet will go into the short loops. And the reason why? The short loop is smaller. It's a lot easier to keep the foot stable and grounded in the short loop than it is the long loop, and there's less wiggle room. So from here, she's set up. She's in a nice long body position. Her body is split right under the anchor, so she's not too hip forward or head back. And she's ready to go, nice and safe. So now we're in our, what we think to be our most balanced start position, but there's a couple of other pointers that I'd like to go over. First, Christine is here, and I'm gonna have her go into a very small hover, just to make sure she doesn't take a big swing. So she's up, she's holding, she's balanced, I love it, and come down. A couple of other points I'd like to address. And the most important one here is the wrists. So you have a couple of options here, none of which are considered to be super comfortable, but there's a purpose. So notice how I reached in and flattened Christine's wrists here. And the reason why is because if her fists are pointing down, as you can see, the wrist line is long and stable. She's got a good grip that's not an over grip, we hope, and she's then able to rotate her humerus in a way that's going to allow her to keep her shoulder girdle broad and strong. When we break the wrist, we're breaking the flow of energy, we're causing entrapment here in the center of the joint. We feel unstable, we start to shake, the shoulder collapses, and it's a calamity. Maybe not that bad. But in my experience, this is the safer position. Now, you'll hear students, relax for a second. There we go, now go ahead and tip again. You'll hear your students and clients complain about this side of the handle digging into their hand. I personally think that that's a great thing. Not because it's digging, but because they have the feedback in the back of the hand to know where the wrist is in space. Very oftentimes, if people are back here in this kind of rev the motorcycle wrist position, they don't, because they're disconnected between the shoulder and the hand, they have a lot less control, and the hand will sometimes slip or the arm will slide forward, thus creating an unstable situation. So I'd like for you to go back up in that hover one more time, thinking of turning the knuckles toward the floor. Yes, good, and lift a little higher. Lift your tail a little higher. And from here, she's able to comfortably get into a flat back position without any shrinking or jamming in through the traps, no winging in the scaps. This is beautiful. Give me a little bit more rotation. Yes, yes, and gently float down. Thank you so much, Christine, and thank you for watching my Balanced Body video.